Hi, Dave with DMA Real Estate and also Real Broker, coming to you from my office in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I have to get something off my chest. I have been biting my tongue regarding all the information coming out regarding this NAR settlement with the DOJ and attorneys regarding commission lawsuits. And today I read something that made me just angry, so I'm no longer going to be holding my tongue. But first, I want to read this quote from President Joe Biden. This is the first time I've actually read it. And it comes on a speech that he gave March 19th, 2024, after the NAR settlement. It says, in addition, last week, the National Association of Realtors agreed for the first time that Americans can negotiate lower commissions when they buy or sell their home. On a typical home purchase, that alone could save folks an average of $10,000 on the sale or purchase. I'm calling on all realtors to follow through on lowering their commissions to protect home buyers. First of all, Mr. Biden, stay in your lane. Secondly, Mr. Biden, if you had had more control over the Fed, lowering interest rates and keeping them low for way too long, so that 60 to 70% of all homeowners didn't have interest rates on their homes of 4% or lower, we'd probably be seeing some more inventory coming on the market. Commissions have nothing to do with the supply and demand curve. Your Fed rates, inflation, and things of that sort are what drives it. So with all this information, I wanted to do a fact or fiction video of some ignorant statements that I've seen throughout the past few weeks after the settlement. And in no shape or form does my view or opinion reflect that of my company. These are personally my own, and anyone that knows me knows that I'm opinionated. And I am going to give you my opinion because I think a lot of stuff is Main Street media trying to do clickbait and give bad and false information to the public. And my job as a realtor is to give information to my clients, accurate information to my clients, so they can make informed decisions on the real estate process. Without further ado, here are some questions. First one, are commissions negotiable? And Mr. Biden said commission for the first time are negotiable. I've been in the business for 30 years. Commissions have been negotiable for 30 years. At no time did I ever feel that I was not able to negotiate a commission with a seller or a buyer. Period. End of story. So false information about commissions have always been the same and have stayed the same and they've never been negotiable is complete BS. So that is false. Fiction. Commissions have always been negotiable. Number two, commissions will come down from the current 5 to 6%. That's fiction. Interest rates, I don't even know where they came up with this, between 5 and 6%. I've seen commissions for 4%. I've seen them for 8%. I've seen them all the way around. Anyways, commissions will probably stay around the same that they are right now. So I don't see, all agents are going to have to do now is to negotiate their commissions probably separately. These commissions will become uncoupled or decoupled, and listing agents will negotiate their fee with the seller, and the buyer's agent will negotiate their fee with the buyer. There's going to be a bunch of different ways that will happen. And will there be offers of compensation, cooperation? I will get to that in just a few. But commissions will come down from 5 to 6%. Absolute fiction. Interest rates, let's talk a year from now, they won't be any different than they are now. Number three, housing prices will come down. That couldn't be more of a fictitious statement if you tried. Commissions do not have anything to do with house values. House values are driven by one and only thing, and that's supply and demand. Right now, we have a lack of supply of houses, and we kind of addressed that with the beginning of this video. It's because most homeowners have interest rates under 4%, 60 to 70%. They don't want to sell their home when they've got that great interest rate, and the only people selling their homes right now are people that are passing away, are relocating, are retiring or divorce. Again, these are the types of sellers in more of those types of situations that are selling. There are more buyers than there are sellers, creating a seller's market. That's what's driving up the prices. Almost every one of my listings is going 20 to 30,000 over list price with multiple offers. It has nothing to do with commissions. Number 4, I can just go to the listing agent and they will do the buy side for free afterwards. Fiction. Absolutely not. So if you want to bypass your buyer's agent and go directly to the listing agent, and again, if that listing agent is me, first of all, I won't do dual agency. I will give you to one of my buyer's agents. It's up to them. But I can tell you that if I did both sides of the transaction, I would charge you the exact same amount because I'm doing double the work. I'm not going to do double the work for a reduced commission or 1% or whatever commission you want to do. And these listing agents are the agents that understand their value proposition. They understand their worth. They're not going to negotiate their commissions with you. So that is fiction. You can go directly to the listing agent, but if you think you're going to get the house for any cheaper, supply and demand is what's driving all of it, not that. So again, fiction. Number 5, 30 to 40% of all agents will leave the business in the next 12 to 24 months. That's a fact. The problem in real estate is that, again, the barriers to get your real estate license are too low. We've been saying that for 30 years. The other aspect of this is that my personal philosophy of real estate agents is 10% of realtors are what I refer to as real estate professionals. They do business the right way. They understand their value proposition. They give that value to their clients each and every day. 90% do not. So in the past, these buyer's agents have just taken their offer of compensation that the listing agent negotiated, and they've been able to get paid the same amount as a great agent. A bad agent gets paid the same amount. That is going to change. You are going to see buyers, talking to several different people as far as buyer's agents, and a buyer's agent is going to need to do 3 things. They're going to need to understand their value proposition. They're going to have to articulate that value proposition to their client. And the third thing is they're going to have to feel that they are worth the fee that they're charging. The people that do not do those 3 things will be out of the business. But if those people that don't understand it, that are out of the business, who's left in the business? The people that, 1, understand their value proposition. They can articulate it. And when you talk to them, they understand and they bring value to every one of their clients. They're not going to negotiate their commission. They're not going to take down their fee because they offer a certain level of service. So if you want a 1%er, those people are going to be leaving the business. So that is a fact that we're going to lose 30 to 40% of agents. It's not necessarily going to be a bad thing, but what's left? Cream of the crop. Number 6, sellers will no longer make offers of compensation to buyer's agents. That's a fiction. That's fiction. So they're no longer to be offering offers of compensation in the multiple listing system, but there's going to be other ways that they're going to be able to offer it. And I can tell you when I'm having my conversation with my seller, I tell them, hey, the conversation a buyer's agent's going to have with that buyer is, hey, the seller may be willing to pay our fee as a compensation or as a credit or as a concession. Number 2 is you may have to pay some of my fee, or the seller pays a little bit, you pay a little bit. Or number 3, you are going to have to pay all of my commission. And then some of the agents are going to say, do you want me to show you houses where they don't make an offer of compensation? And that's where we ran into a lot of this problem is there steering? Is there steering away from people that are making offers of compensation? Unfortunately, realtors are natural people too. Buyers don't want to come up with that money out of their pocket. And so if they're not going to go out and show these properties where they're not making an offer of compensation, a seller may only have 50% of the market. We will not know until we get the data after this goes into effect. If you make no offer of compensation as opposed to a seller that's making an offer of compensation, what's the difference? Are you getting less buyers? Are you getting less activity? And if I'm a seller, do I want 100% of the market? Absolutely, especially when I'm getting multiple offers and I'm getting offers over full price and I'm getting 30, 40,000 over list price. And I've got an agent that knows how to negotiate and is going to leverage all of this. They are probably going to make, and I've had this conversation a couple of times. Both of my sellers that I had this conversation with said, Dave, we want 100% of the market. We definitely want to make an offer of compensation. So I don't see that as being a fact. I look at that as being fiction. Sellers will still make an offer of compensation. Number 7, attorneys or new companies will pop up and offer to do buyer side transaction for low cost. That's a fact. We're going to see a bunch of companies try and take advantage of the situation. We'll do the buyer side of transaction for $1,000. You'll see attorneys say, I'll draw up the contract for $1,000 or something like that. You will see that. But guess what? Those attorneys, those fly-by-night people writing the contract and negotiating are going to have to negotiate with professionals like myself. And how do you think that's going to go? We have it every day. We're dealing with, again, already have 90% of realtors that don't know how to negotiate things like that. So you bring on these other companies that probably have even less experience negotiating with myself and other professionals, you will get taken to the cleaners when it comes to negotiating. And again, can an attorney go to you on contractor's inspection? Are they going to be able to advise you on how to, if something comes up on a contractor's inspection? What we do, very little of what we do is finding you the house. So much of what a realtor does is get you from the sales contract to the closing table. That's where all the things happen. That's where experience and expertise comes into play. You will not have any of that. You pay for what you get. And again, that's up to you. If the largest financial investment that you will ever have, that you're going to trust it to one of these people that only can only compete on a fee. They can't compete on value. That's up to you. If I'm going to be having my largest financial asset, I'm going to be hiring the best. That's just me. Number 8, there will be a rise in dual agency. Absolute fact. There's going to be buyers going directly to listing agents, and listing agents are going to be basically a dual agent where they don't any longer have a fiduciary responsibility to the buyer or the seller. They're basically just going to be in the middle, and they can't tell one buyer or one seller what to do, and you will see a lot of that. How does that do this? How does that help the seller? How does that help the buyer? Again, the realtor's not doing it. If you ask Dave Mueller, what are the 2 things you do better than anybody else? And it's going to be market, but the biggest thing, negotiate. And if you take away my best asset, my best attribute, to not be able to negotiate on one or of my client's behalf, you've taken away my best skill. And so DMA, we don't do dual agency. We will continue not to do dual agency. We will head to a buyer's agent. But do you think we're going to negotiate our fee down to nothing and do it for free? Hell's no. We provide a value. We're going to charge for that value. And if a client does not see that value, we will not work with them. So, fact for dual agency, we're not going to do it. But do you really want to be a dual agent where the agent's not representing you for the largest financial investment that you have? Lastly, and this is my thing that really irks me. Last question. Realtors make too much money and are overpaid. Fiction. 50% of realtors sold one house or less last year, okay? My biggest beef with NAR and the lawsuits and the people that in the lawsuit in the trial is they put billionaires on the stand to comment what realtors feel and what realtors do and things like that. And you got people in the jury that are just like you and I that work every day for every penny that they have, and they've got these billionaires on the stand. Why did they not take the listing agents of the plaintiffs and have them, people like me that are living paycheck to paycheck, making sure that we keep our team going, and then I don't just look at my admin as work people, They're part of my family. I have responsibility for them as well. And with we don't have the inventory. We have 40% less transactions taking place. So we are barely covering our costs. So if you think we're making too much money, that's a bunch of BS. There's many days when Peter and Paul get to know each other real quickly because we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, but we have an obligation to the people on our team and our admin people to keep them going. And small business owners are the people that are keeping our economy alive. And like I said, do we make too much money? That is ridiculous. Do the brokers that own those companies make too much money? Probably. But again, I would have loved to see the listing agents that are barely paying their bills every single day. Let them answer that question. Do they make too much money? If you want to hire us per hour, an attorney that you hire that has the competence of us, experience and expertise of 30 years and all that transaction, they're going to charge you $500 to $1,000 an hour. You hire a realtor that has the experience of someone that's new attorney, those attorneys are probably going to charge you $100 to $200 an hour. Do you want the real estate industry to go to per hour where you're paying me $500 to $1,000 an hour? If you actually did that, our commissions will look very reasonable. And the fact that the attorneys for the NAR are asking for their commissions or their settlement money before the case is even finalized because they had to put out all this money and they need to be repaid because they had no idea they were going to get paid. What do you think we do every single day with a listing? We pay thousands of dollars for marketing and advertising, and then we don't get paid until the end of the transaction. And many times a transaction doesn't happen or a buyer walks away or this, that, and the other thing, and we're left holding the bag on a $2,000 or $3,000 debt. We are real estate professionals. We are worth every penny that we pay us. We probably don't get paid enough. So that is the end of my spiel here. I had to just go public on this. If you have certain questions or you disagree with things I say, by all means, I'm happy to listen to you. This is based on my experience as an agent. I'm also the principal broker for Real Broker here in the state of Michigan. Again, nothing that I say reflects on the opinion of Real Broker. I felt that it was my duty because I'm listening to my agents talk about this and they're nervous and they're stressed. I'm listening to the public talking to me about that. They're nervous and they're stressed. And it's all because of this misinformation that's going out there. I want to set the record straight. This is how I think it's going to go. I may be wrong. But based on my experience, this is what I think is going to happen. So you probably haven't listened to this whole thing. If you had, I hope you got some good information on this. For all my realtor people out there, keep on working. You're worth every penny. And have a great day.